Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Scrapyard. I'm your host, Aiden, and we are here for episode 7. This is my co-host, Jake, and it was a pretty fun weekend in combat sports. Of course, we got UFC Fight Night to talk about, but we've also got some regional stuff that my buddy Jake here would like to take over. We're going to call it Jake's Regional Wrap-Up. I'm going to just let you take it away with that. Let's talk about it.
Well, Jake's Regional Wrap-Up, we're going to be quick and, efficient with the amazing regional combat sports we had this week. It was a busy week. Obviously, Glory Kickboxing had their tournament. There was a lot going on. BKFC Ice Wars, we'll get there in a second. But I think the biggest thing to start with is LFA. It was on Friday evening, LFA 219. Isaac Thompson was the main event. There were several big prospects that really showed up on that card. I'm just going to start with a couple names, and we're going to go up the card here because Bryce Werner, 2-0 now, round 2 submission, was really, really impressive in the LFA octagon. And Elias Rodriguez, another big name prospect with Corey Sandhagen in his corner, advanced to 3-0 with a first round knockout. He is a prospect to watch. He'll be back in there soon. Next up the card was Ronald Humphrey. That guy's built like a Mack truck, kind of like Mansur Abdul Malik, but a little bit smaller. That guy is also a violent man and a very, very good prospect. He had a really tough opponent standing across from him. But my favorite fight of the night was the heavyweight fight. Matt Adams, 4-1, left the cage 5-1. He was a big underdog, 5'10", all of 265 pounds. That's someone that the UFC will be calling soon. I already have a matchup for him. You remember Josh Hokett?
Nope.
Okay, Dana White Contender Series prospect, Josh Hokett.
Which one was that one?
Say, week 2 or 3, early in the season.
He
already got a fight booked.
Was that the one who was being like transphobic?
Yes, very loud mouth.
Now I know who we're talking about.
2 big American wrestlers. I think that would be an unbelievable fight. Looks like a UFC Apex main card opener, if you ask me.
Apex fights, gotta love them.
And his opponent, Ben Werder, that's a heavyweight prospect I expect to see back. He's big, athletic, has a really good track record, so he'll be back. But you get to the big 4 fights. Stewie, really impressive decision win, stayed on top. But we'll move on to Diedrich Sanders, who is back, PFL veteran, had a big win over the younger Russian prospect. And then Martin Camilo knocked out Raheem Forrest in vicious fashion. It was like a last-second KO in the end of the first round. And Raheem Forrest is a really big name prospect, CFFC champ, which we'll be moving on to them in a second. But first, Isaac Thompson, the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson Australian edition. He trains over in California with Uriah Faber. That guy is a beast. He took on, I believe he was Azerbaijani. I'm going to double check myself here. Uzbekistan, but regardless, because Tapology is playing games with me, a really impressive split decision win in an unreal fight. Go back and watch it on UFC Fight Pass if you haven't yet. But I want to talk real quick about CFFC 147 as well. There were a couple really fun fights on that card. First and foremost, Christian Carver's Tommy Lapoli, great grappling bout. And last but not least, they had a title fight. Kevin Peace, a really good prospect. He is now 7-0, absolutely dominated for 4 rounds.
Looks like it's going to happen, dude. Dana's coming. Dana's coming for him.
Oh, Dana is coming for them with that Paramount deal. Now, one thing to mention as well with CFFC is they do have a big fight coming up. So I do want to mention it because, Aiden, you might not remember these 2 guys, but 2 Dana White Contender Series losers are facing off for the heavyweight title at CFFC 148. Anthony Goracio versus Darian Abbey, 2 strikers. Both got knocked out, I believe, in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, in Dana White Contender Series this year. Both making a quick turnaround. That's an event that's going to be the first week of November. Very much looking forward to that fight. But with that said, I think we're going to move on because Charles Rosa and Bare Knuckle went to Canada, got some skates on, acted like this was hockey, but with old school leather football helmets. It was interesting to say the least. And they had Ice Wars. So I think you can tell by the pictures there, that was from a war between 2 ladies. There's some tweets going around. I'm sure you can find little clips of it. It was violent. It was brutal. I mean, they dropped the gloves and have that little tiny leather helmet on, and it is literally a hockey brawl without the ref stopping it for once, without any face masks or any shields that the punches are just hitting. So that
what an interesting idea for a fight.
It was interesting to watch. I mean, we've got Power Slap. I'm a fan of that. BKFC Ice Wars, I have to say, that was interesting. I might become a fan of that too. Yeah, it was super interesting. interesting. Charles Rosa, a veteran in combat sports, had a great win on that card too. He was the co-main event. It seemed like there was a lot of hockey guys. Unfortunately, I didn't tune in live to this event, but I mean, it seemed crazy. The stadium wasn't all that busy, but I'm sure after more than one event, we'll start seeing that grow. What are your thoughts on BKFC Ice Wars, Aiden?
Man, I mean, okay. To me, it seems a little gimmicky. I don't know that it would necessarily be something that would catch on. Like something that would be like a big thing. But I could see it being like every once in a while they do a BKFC Ice Wars. And like it'll be just like a fun event. I don't mind it. Here and there. I think it is gimmicky. I think it's too gimmicky to be like, oh, let's do this all the time. But maybe like as a one-off or like a once a year or something like that. I think it could be entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking about it last week. They're doing a lot of stuff. Their new warehouse style show. Check out our episode last week to hear us talk about that. They've been doing a lot of really good stuff this year. Mike Perry obviously has been dominating the headlines for them. So I'm excited to see what happens next with Bare Knuckle, and I respect it. They're competing at the highest level. I know they're throwing around decent pay, and so that's always good for the fighters. So I'm really excited to see what's coming on next. I have no idea when the next episode or event will take place, but I'll certainly be paying attention, and we'll be relaying it here on the Scrapyard.
Perfecto. UFC time?
I think it's a great time to talk about UFC Rio. It was a great event. I think there's a lot to talk about. We're going to cut out the first couple fights of the night. Obviously, some really good wars, but we wanted to talk about a couple of the prospects on the prelims before we get into the main card recap. Now, Aiden, I don't know if you want to talk about this fight too much. It was Russian Ronda versus Bia Mesquita, the former LFA champion. She is the Brazilian, obviously, fighting in her home backyard. She got the first round finish. Any thoughts on this fight?
Didn't get to watch it. Have heard nothing about it.
Well, she absolutely dominated her for the whole first round, probably a 10-8. And then in the second round, she was able to get the submission. That's what she's known for. She is an elite grappler, and that obviously is going to play well in the UFC women's bantamweight division. I see a lot of potential fights for her. There was a prospect from Australia, Michelle Montague, former PFL fighter. I think that would be a really fun undefeated battle. I think they're both 6-0. So that's a fun matchup from there. And I think we're talking about a potential ranking next to her name coming soon. She still has things to work on in her striking, but on the ground, she's slick.
Fair enough. The next fight, heavyweight bout, you were excited about this one, weren't you?
Yeah, and I mean, it's because Vitor Petrino, he's built like a Mack truck. I mean, if he was in America, he would be an edge rusher right now in the NFL. So happens that he's Brazilian and he's a fighter in the UFC now, and he came against an American wrestler, Thomas Peterson. I think they've called him now Steven Peterson and Thomas Jefferson on 2 separate broadcasts. I mean,
perfect.
He's got a great name, Thomas the Train. I don't know how you forget this guy.
Thomas the Train.
But Vitor Petrino ran through him like a train would. Anybody coming through its way on the tracks. Vitor Petrino is vicious. He's quick. He still has his grappling ability. I was a little concerned about his cardio when he started wrestling in that fight, but in the end, he just destroyed Thomas Peterson everywhere it was. He was a step ahead. This is a guy that we're definitely going to see making noise in the UFC heavyweight division. And if we don't see the Walter Walker versus Mo Usman rebooking, maybe feed Mo Usman to Vitor Petrino and see if we can get 2 big guys that look like they should be in the NFL. See what that looks like in the UFC octagon.
Fair enough. We've got a lot of finishes on these prelims.
Yeah, and I think that's by design. The UFC, whenever they have these stadium events, they fill it up with the more fun fighters. And we saw it. I mean, Jafel Filio, this is a guy that pretty much won 2 rounds off Muhammad Mokaev and lost in round 3 by a submission. But he had Muhammad Mokaev in positions that many guys would tap to. I mean, he was coming in on a 2-fight loss streak, but Clayton Carpenter's always there to bang. I mean, he's a very, very fun fighter, all action. He brings big power. He's also a willing wrestler. So a really good matchup in the end of the day for Jafel Filio, who is longer, slick on the ground. I was really impressed with Jafel Filio, excuse me. That's a future rank my way.
This next fight was interesting because when this young man, Lucas Almeida, decided to step on the scales, some people were noticing some things. And looked like his hand was rather swollen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
broken. His hand was very clearly broken. I don't know how the commission let him fight. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe they just
Well,
didn't notice it. Maybe it looked like he broke it recently though. Like
I don't know. Call me naive. I don't know how the commission would approve that. I'm convinced it was like he got like stung by a bee or something. Like I can't imagine how a commission would be able to sanction that and be okay with it.
yeah, I mean I don't either, but it looked broken. I was watching the weigh-in and I was like, ooh, that's
And then I was watching that hand during the fight, and he did not throw many right hands, which was that hand in question.
it looked pretty broken to me. I don't know. On to the main card.
Yeah.
I didn't get to really pay much attention to these first two fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is honestly the Con Offley win was a lot like the fight in the one before with Mike Aswell. I mean, it was really about who had more dog in them, and that's what Con Offley did. This is a guy who is the runner-up in Tough. He had a very poor showing in his first UFC fight outside of the Tough format. And when he fought Ricardo Ramos, at first it was like, oh, Ricardo looks decent. And then once Con Offley got it to the ground and started working his game, it was over. And so really good win for Con Offley. That saves his job. And Ricardo Ramos is basically on a 6-fight losing streak now. That's probably time for his walking papers.
Yeah, it's probably cut time. A lot of people on Twitter were worried though because these two gentlemen, the Brazilians, were losing on the main card. They were like, oh, we're in
They
Rio
got a lot
and they're losing
on the early card.
The main cards don't matter. Let's be real, because there was that stat about
Every
fighters,
fight matters.
Brazilian fighters on the main card. You know, the
Well,
stat I'm
and
talking
Brazilian
about?
main event fighters have been porous this year as well.
But did you get a chance to watch this one?
Yeah, this was probably the one that I was most excited for outside of that Vitor Petrino fight and the obvious main event. It's always fun to watch big heavyweight guys sling. Mario Pinto, personality points through the roof. I mean, that guy was pretending like he doesn't speak English, and he's from Portugal, so he speaks fluent Portuguese. He was getting things translated and speaking Portuguese and
then he just broke out the English.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if my English is good. And then he's like, shout out to my team back in London. It's like, I guess if you're paying attention, and if you're not paying attention, it might catch you off guard. But Mario Pinto is a threat. He's a big dude. Jonathan Denise is a really good striker. And Pinto said, hey, I can win in the striking. I can keep my distance, but it'll be even easier for me to win on the grappling. And he showcased his wrestling and his ground game. There were a couple times where Denise showed really good defense and started to switch it. And Pinto said, hey, no, not today. And
That's a good
on
impression.
top.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. My, I mean, I'd have to grow about 1.5 feet and about 150 pounds. But we'll get there in no time. But yeah, big win for Mario Pinto. And this is another really heavy, like athletic heavyweight that's going to be a name in the top 15, I would imagine, quite soon. I'd like maybe one more fight before he gets in the rankings, but he's really close at heavyweight.
Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. What were your thoughts on this fight?
I know you watched this one. Break it down for me.
I didn't get to watch any fights on this card.
Not a single one?
Live. Nope. I know.
Well, we found this out live here, folks, in the Scrapyard.
I know. I was upset. I wanted to, but I was busy. I had something come up.
Well, I'll lay it out to you. Vicente Luque's chin is not broken. Joel Alvarez threw the kitchen sink at him. He was throwing hammer fists, elbows, flying knees, everything that he had at him. And he clearly won the fight. I think it was 30-26 on most of the scorecards. Dominant victory. There's not a round that Vicente Luque won, but you can't question his heart, his durability anymore. He has survived that brain bleed. I was scared for his life. Joel Alvarez was in a triangle on top for like 3.5 minutes in the third round, just landing casually, hammer fists and stuff, slowly taking his time and dissecting Vicente Luque as he got to his first ever decision win. 21 finishes in his 21 wins. 22nd win now coming by way of decision. Very clear fight to score. And Joel Alvarez, I guarantee you, will have a very big fight coming up at welterweight. This was his debut at welterweight. He'll be having that fight come up on the next Ilia Topuria card, cough, January on Paramount. He'll certainly be there as probably the next greatest Spanish contender, prospect, whatever you want to call him, that they have. So really impressive.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, like, when do we think we're going to see him potentially get a ranking? Obviously, I know new division, that kind of shakes things up, but this guy's on a 4-fight win streak. and his last fight that he lost was to Arman Sarukian at lightweight. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I believe he was ranked or holding on to like that last ranking in the division before switching divisions. So I would imagine Vicente Luque instantly gives you a ranking. I'll give you two names
let's
right
hear it.
here,
Let's
right
hear it.
now. I think if the UFC doesn't care for Michael Chiesa as much as everybody thinks they do, it's Michael Chiesa. And you say, hey, let's get you on the Ilia Topuria card. You'll open the
Fair
main
enough.
card and just have him be sacrificed. Or you give him a guy like, I don't know, maybe a Kevin Holland or another
Kevin
big
Holland
name
would
on a
be, that would
card.
be an interesting one. That'd be an interesting one. I'd be curious
And
to
I
see
think
that
Joel
one.
has the tools. Joel has the tools everywhere. So I was really impressed with Joel. Watch that fight back. No, it's a 3-round decision and one-way traffic, but watch it with the intention of, figuring out how high the ceiling is for Alvarez. I think it's pretty high.
Davison Figueiredo, good to see him come back and get a win after his injury in the Corey Sandhagen fight. A lot of people. It was interesting though. One of the judges did give this fight to Jackson. He gave 29-28. I thought that was interesting. I did watch. I was more. I'm not watching, but like on Twitter during the fights, people they do like a watch through and they kind of announce what's happening. And it seemed like it was pretty unanimous that Figueiredo won. Maybe not like 3-0, but he definitely won. So I thought it was interesting that it was a split decision. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the third round was close. I think Montel probably edged it out. Davison didn't get as much grappling. It was very slow. But, I mean, let's be honest. Montel didn't pull the trigger at all the whole fight. I mean, if Montel wanted to win that fight, it was there for him. It was great seeing Davison get back. I mean, I was so happy for him in Brazil. And I thought it was pretty clear that he won rounds 1 and 2. He was in control for about half of each round. He's the one landing more strikes on the feet. I don't really know how a judge, because the one judge gave Montel rounds 1 and 3. I believe most of the judges, or all of the judges actually, gave Montel round 3, which I think is fair. But I don't really know how Davison lost rounds 1 or 2. But it was a boring fight. It was there's no other way around it. Neither guy really did too much. Davison was just able to outpoint him.
It's just good to see
It's just good to see
Figueiredo come back and get a win, right? Especially after an injury like that.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against Montel.
But the main event, Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus, is it Mateus? I always can't remember pronounce his first name right.
Mateus
Gamrot. A lot of people were a little nervous for this fight because Gamrot's a good grappler, right? But
myself included.
Charles got that BJJ, and he showed it in this fight. But a lot of people have been kind of scared to fight Gamrot recently. He's been calling out a lot of fighters. Nobody was taking the fight. Charles said, all right, I'll do it. And Charles made pretty quick work of him, at least, in terms of overall difficulty. Once Charles got the back and locked in that rear naked, I mean, it was over. It was over. But I think I saw he's the first person to submit Gamrot. The first person to finish him, actually. Yeah. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. And hey, do Bronx Oliveira, title run starts now.
Yeah, I mean, he increased his lead for most ever performance bonuses in the UFC. I think he's at 22 or 23 now, which is unreal. Another submission, adding to his submission record.
I think he's at 21 finishes now, and 17 of them are submissions or something like that. Like crazy, just a crazy number.
I mean, it's out of this world. What the guy has done, it transcends the sport. I mean, he has actually changed it. People come out trying to fight like Charles do Bronx. It was honestly kind of disappointing to hear he changed his name to the Predator. I'm not quite certain why.
I think that was just an ad for the Predator movie.
Maybe
that's what I heard, because they still announced him as do Bronx.
Yeah, I mean, my roommate, who's not, I don't want to call him a casual, but he's not as a diehard MMA fan. I mean, he was screaming do Bronx.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't walk away from a nickname like that everybody knows.
No, and I'm pretty sure he's still listed as do Bronx. I think it was just an ad, but I guess time will tell.
Hey, do what you got to do to get that bread. I mean, he got that bonus. He got that win, and he made a call out. That's definitely what I wanted to talk about here at the tail end of the show that I love. This is the fight that people were kind of hoping to force and make after his loss to Ilia. But, I mean, Max Holloway? And Max Holloway
They are
answered.
both so different so different to where they were when they first fought. And I think
Yeah, and that wasn't even a
no,
fight.
not really. I mean, Charles Oliveira got injured, something with his, I believe it was his throat, his esophagus, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Um, I think we need to see it again, and that's a good one because, like I said, they both developed a lot. Charles is a much better striker than he used to be. Max Holloway's defensive grappling is much better than it used to be. So, and
yeah.
I think we'll get to see I think it'll be a tough fight for both guys. I don't know that I see an easy I don't think I see Max chinning Charles in round one. I don't think I see Charles submitting Max in round one. We've seen both of these guys fight pretty hard and show a lot of heart. So it's a fight I want to see. I want to see it. Max Holloway is my favorite fighter.
100%.
Charles is probably a top 5 favorite fighter of mine. So I think it'd be a great fight. I love that Max accepted the call out. Obviously, he's got the hand injury, which he said he should be cleared soon to start training again. So sounds like he wants March. Charles
Yeah.
wants White House, but Max doesn't want to wait that long. So I guess we'll see kind of what goes on with the negotiations. But how do you feel about the fight?
I mean, first and foremost, this is a fight that we need to see. Max Holloway at lightweight has been a different beast. I think he's filled out into 155 better than most 45ers do
yeah,
when they
he looks
transition up away.
pretty different at fit. Like, and the power is definitely different too.
I mean, to the point where I could see him fighting all the way up to 170 maybe if he keeps putting more and more muscle on his frame because he was always long and lengthy. Imagine if he fills it out all the way with true
He's
muscle.
tall enough to where I think he could. I don't know that he would because he has a more
I could see maybe a one-off,
more slender build, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. When he's towards the end, I could totally see a 1 or 2 fights, to get a legend fight or 2 in before he's done with. I could see that for sure because he is really that big. And I think for lightweight, now that he's fully in that frame, I think he's going to be the bigger guy than Charles. I agree with you. March, April, I think whenever that second Paramount numbered card would end up being, I could see them being the headliner. Now, I've heard people say it's got to be the way that we get back to Hawaii. This is the main event the next time we go to Brazil. I don't know if it ends up being either of those. I think obviously putting it in Hawaii would be sick.
Didn't Charles say he wanted it in Vegas, or was that Max? Maybe I'm
honestly I don't
tripping,
know,
but I felt like I saw something that said Vegas.
I was gonna say they always put a big card in Canada, Vegas, California. You could see a big card in that part of the world. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of them get a true home field advantage.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I don't think it matters. I think both of them have fandom that it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're a fan of MMA, you love both of them. It's tough to say either one loses. I personally would side with Max Holloway in that fight. But I think you build a card around that. And if either one of them felt like after the end of that fight, it was their time to retire, I think you give them the platform similarly to how they gave the platform to Jose Aldo in Rio this past weekend.
We just got breaking news.
But yeah.
UFC 323 main event, Merab Dvalishvili, Peter Yan. Announced by Dana White.
Wow. Oh, he went live early.
That'll be a good one. That's a good rematch. We're talking about the future. That fight might look very different than the first one, but it also might look the same.
I don't know. Merab's striking's getting better.
It's an interesting one. I don't know. I think I'd pick Merab for that fight. I don't know that anybody's going to beat. You know what I mean?
I pick fight goes to the distance. I don't think either one finishes each other.
No, but I don't see. I don't think I see anybody beating Merab anytime soon. I think that's where I'm at. I think you have to chin him. I mean,
yeah, and Peter has the hands, but I don't know if Merab has the will that would break.
Yeah, no.
I think him and Yuri, they're very similar in mindset and build. They just go. They do it.
Yeah.
Now, there's one thing that I want to talk about here, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But I think we need to talk about how the Charles and Max fight, going back to that, affects the rest of the lightweight division. Because I think that has a ripple down effect. Obviously, everybody kind of knows Ilia's fighting on that first Paramount card.
And it sounds like against Gaethje.
And I will continue to say it here. Clip this. It's going to be Patty. It's not going to be Gaethje. It makes no sense for it to be Gaethje. It makes all the sense in the world for it to be Patty. It's going to be Patty. He's going to fight Patty. And Gaethje's going to be left in a very funny spot because Hooker's booked, Arman's booked, We already know that Max and Charles are going to fight. There's no more Dustin Poirier around. Justin Gaethje said he's going to retire if he doesn't get that fight versus Ilia. And I don't think they're going to give that fight to Gaethje despite what those rumors are saying. So I think for my money, we're going to walk into a world where Gaethje might be fighting a guy like Mateusz Gamrot when he's ready to fight again, if he chooses to fight again with the UFC.
Fair enough. We just got into more breaking news. You want to hear it? Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear it?
Oh, God. I mean, I was born for this.
UFC 323 co-main event, Pantoja versus Van, official.
Well, that one
we knew, but it's official now. We have a date.
Michael Aswell kind of broke that for us in his post-fight interview after he won. But yes, now that we have a date, that's great to know. That's a fun card. Some smaller champions going at it on the same card. I think that's a fun fight. Pantoja versus Van. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Van to be prepared for what Pantoja brings for him in the physicality game and in sense of what he brings just in the ground game between the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. But if anybody has the hands, it's Josh Van.
Oh yeah, you could, absolutely. I think it'll be an entertaining fight. I think Pantoja wins. I'm gonna pick Pantoja. You know.
Yeah, and I think that's a fight you see a big favorite price tag on Pantoja, and then you see the backers that'll come on Josh Van, who will probably create the Twitter circus, create the festivities, and before you know it, I think we're going to be looking at what's going to be lined as a pretty close fight on fight day. But I think Pantoja, I kind of with you on that one. I think Pantoja has more ways to win.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it would be so awesome to see Van win. It would be, but I think you're right. I just think Pantoja just has. Whoa!
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple more that we can talk.
Henry Cejudo taking on Payton Talbott at UFC 322.
My guy Payton Talbott.
That is, I did not expect that one. That's all right.
That's a tough fight for Payton. If his takedown defense holds up, though, he will outstrike Cejudo. He has the height, reach, technique, kicking, punching, all the power and accuracy, everything on the feet.
Yeah, I mean that caught me off guard. I think if Payton Talbott wins that one, that's a pretty big boost for him.
Yeah, and that's shaping up to be a really good card. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is I know this is the very last pay-per-view, hopefully, of all time that the UFC puts on. So, I mean, we're talking about that. There's Jan versus Guskov already on that card as well. I mean, that's shaping up to be a really good card. That's 4 fights that we already know about. I'm sure there'll be one more main card fight thrown in there. Probably not championship level. We already have 2. But I can imagine another really, really good prospect probably in a main card spot. And I think that's going to be a really fun pay-per-view right there to end the year.
I'm refreshing my page because I really want to see Ilia Topuria announcement. But I don't think we're going to get it. They are. They're absolutely. Yeah.
No. They're saving that. There's going to be a special announcement. I bet you it doesn't even come from the UFC directly. If it comes from them directly, it'll be a joint post with Paramount. I would imagine Paramount has a good plan, and I could imagine them also broadcasting that, whether it's on a football game of some sort or a Champions League game that they're broadcasting. I could imagine they'll try and break that on a big platform that they have coming up. Obviously, they have a number of products on their system, so they will have plenty of means to get it out to the people. And I think when people realize how simple it's going to be, just get your subscription on Paramount Plus and watch everything for free from that point. Well, I guess not free. It's with your monthly
I hope that's how it is. Dana White saying they might do one-off pay-per-view still makes me nervous, but
I think he wants to make the White House event a pay-per-view.
Which I get that, but
he just needs to cover his costs.
Yeah. I mean, you think the $7.7 billion would cover the cost or whatever.
And they're not going to increase pay enough to justify that.
Yeah, did you hear bonuses are going from 50K to 51K?
Now, what would be great though is if they made a standard bonus for all finishes.
I think they should do that. I think you should do a standard.
And then you increase the performance of the night bonuses that they're giving out for the best.
Finish bonus doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could 25, 50K maybe. Like,
I mean, right now it's 50K for a finish. If we're going to do for every finish, 25, 30K, and then performance of the night, you give out 3 a fight, 100K, 150K. Like, you don't need to give out a fight of the night, but you can give out a fight of the night if you feel like that's justified. But there's ways to increase the pay without really truly increasing the structure of the pay.
I think you do a all finishes bonus is 25K. You take performance of the night from 50K to 100K, and then fight of the night, you do 100K as well. So both fighters get 100K.
Yeah, or keep that at 50K,
you could keep that at 50K.
And you just give out multiple performance of the night bonuses along.
But will greedy Dana do that? I don't know. We'll see.
I think it could make sense. So now that I'm thinking about it, you have 2 performance of the night bonuses at 100,000. You have a fight of the night with both fighters getting 50K. So that's 300,000. That's basically what they're giving out now on the fights that they're giving out the most money. And then you do the 25,000 per finish. That right there with maybe a 10% boost on the fighting pay structure from the get-go for especially the lower end of the spectrum, because those are the people that can pay.
Yeah, the 10 and 10 contracts are crazy.
Yeah, but you do a slight increase there. I mean, you start at 15-15 or 13-13,
even
whatever
12 and a half,
it is.
12 and a half.
Yeah, let's increase the floor. Let's increase the incentives, and no one's going to really care too much if the rest isn't too affected. That's the way that you don't ruffle too many feathers, but you also increase the pay and allow the fighters to make really what they're worth. I mean, the UFC is never going to be a union probably, and like the NBA and the NFL, so we're not going to get a salary cap and a structured system like that, which is also probably potentially for the best for the fighters, depending on how big the sport can grow.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very interesting discussion, one that we did not plan on having.
Didn't. But I think we should save the full discussion for another day where we can plan our thoughts out more. But I do think we should talk about this at some point.
100%. And maybe that's the question of the day today. Let us know your thoughts on what the UFC should do within reason.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
100 for your first fight. Nothing crazy.
Because let's be honest, there are fighters that come in with 4 fights ever. We don't know if they're going to be any good. In the NFL, if you were a practice squad player,
you're getting the minimum.
So it's like we should there should be a bottom. I mean, not everybody's going to be at the top of the world, but what do you think would be the right thing to do for pay structure within reason? How do we make it right now that the UFC has the big $7.7 billion?
Let us know in the comments. We want to hear it. We read the comments.
And of course, don't forget to like the episode.
You better like and subscribe. You better.
I mean, how could you not? There's content coming from you every which way at all times from the Scrap. Make sure you go over to Twitter as well and Instagram and all the other social medias to find the Scrap. Aiden, my friend, what else are we missing today? What else do we need to talk about? Do we want to talk a tiny bit about next week?
Perchance.
UFC Canada.
Perchance.
Let's just talk about maybe the couple big card or the big fights on the card. This is completely on the spot here. We have no planning, and that's how we like to do it here in the Scrapyard. We're going to give you our raw takes. The first fight of the night is Rainier de Ritter versus short notice, representing Canada out of nowhere, Brendan Allen.
Why is he representing Canada? Isn't he American?
He said one of his grandparents is from Canada. I forget where he said, respect, you're fighting in Canada. Right. It's just a little odd that it's, when the fight was in New Orleans, he was representing New Orleans, and now the fight's in Canada, he's representing
whatever.
Canada.
Anyways, I got RDR winning that.
Yeah, I do as well. I think Brendan Allen walks into those knees and elbows that RDR throws, and RDR is a physical specimen. So, yeah, or RDR, and I think he's going to be fighting for a title.
I agree. Kevin Holland, Mike Malot. Is it Mallet or Malot?
Malott. And he has his brother is in the NHL, and the first game of the NHL season, the first fight, was his brother. So
perfect.
I found that very funny. But that's a really interesting fight because Kevin Holland does get stuck on the ground.
Yeah.
And Mike Mallet has unbelievable submissions. We've seen him been broken, quite frankly, by Neil Magny late in the fight with the ground and pound. He's not the best striker, but he's not bad at all. He's got a really nice kicking game. That's a really tough fight. The fan of Kevin Holland in me wants to pick Kevin Holland, but I am seeing an armbar off the back from Mike Mallet in his hometown. So give me Mike Mallet in the end, but I'm rooting in a sense, for Kevin Holland, because who doesn't love Kevin
Yeah, I
Holland?
think I'm gonna go Mike just because I think recently Kevin has shown some regression, specifically in his athletic ability. Like he just looks a little slower, a little, you know what I mean? But he also Kevin
Yeah.
Holland is also one of those guys where sometimes he'll come out and like out of nowhere just have an amazing performance, and then the next fight he'll fight like shit. So
But it's always a fight that everybody's backing him, that then he lets everybody
yep.
down, and it's just like the cycle repeats itself over and over again. I think this is a really fun matchup.
Chito Vera versus Ayman Sahabi.
Of course, Faris Zahabi's brother, Ayman. I'll give you my hot take here. Chito Vera is the guy who I would say probably has top 3 best chin in the UFC. I actually think he gets cracked.
Really?
I'm going to take Zahabi. I'm going to take him by knockout. I'm going to take it late in the fight, maybe round 3, maybe late round 2. But give me Ayman Zahabi showing the levels to this game. His brother is one of the better coaches out there, Faris. And so I think he's been working under the tutelage. The big thing against Ayman was that he didn't fight enough. Well, over the last 2 years or so, we've seen him fight a lot. Yeah. And I think he's hitting his stride right now.
I think Zahabi wins. I think he's putting together a good win streak, and I think he's got a lot of potential. I think Chito Vera is not I don't think he has the best fight IQ.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the times he just relies on his gut.
I think he kind of coasts a lot, and I think that I personally I think it's gonna be a decision, but that's just me.
And Zahabi in Canada, and let me check, where is it in Canada? It's at Rogers, so that means it's Vancouver. I believe he's from Quebec, but regardless, he's Canadian in Canada. Big spot, biggest fight of his career. He just had a really good fight too. Why am I drawing a massive blank? I'm gonna have to cheat here. Jose Aldo in Canada. He's 37, so the time is now. If he's gonna make it to the upper echelon of the division, he's got to beat the Marlon Chito Veras, who's also on the back 9. He himself is probably on the back 9 when we're talking about age. So I give me Ayman Zahabi, and give me Ayman Zahabi by a shocking KO. Oh, shout out Jasmine Jazz Divigius, probably one of my favorite female fighters. She is awesome. Charles Air Jourdain versus Davy Grant. Davy Grant has looked the best in his career the last couple of fights. I'm very excited for that fight. That's going to be fun. There's also Kyle Nelson versus Matt Furlow, very fun, but I don't want to waste that because the fight that I'm really, really excited for is Bruno Silva versus Hyun Sung Park at flyweight. Hyun Sung Park just took a short notice fight, lost against Steve Urseg. Now he is coming back quickly. This is a big fight for him, another ranked opposition for him. He's a newcomer. So I'm really excited to see that one because Bruno, he can finish guys. And Park, he's got the potential to be something. So it's a really big test there. So really, really exciting Canadian card. Going to Canada, the land of Canada, next week. We will be back next week as well. But Aiden, take us out of here.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We will be back here next week, of course, every week, except for that one time where we missed it, but we don't talk about that. But we appreciate you guys. Make sure you comment, answer the question of the day, give us constructive criticism, tell us about fights you want us to watch or anything you didn't hear us talk about. We will reply in the comments and let you know what we think. But yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Do we need to talk boxing?
Huh?
So do we need to talk
I gotta
boxing?
go to work.
No, I'm just saying.
I thought he meant right now. This guy. Anyways, okay. Be more specific. But yeah, I mean, we talked about boxing a little bit, but let us know what you want to hear, and we will give it to you. Yes, Jake Paul. We love you guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.